Okay, so May 28th, 2024, Churu, Rajasthan. The thermometer hits 50.5 degrees Celsius. Read that again, 50.5. That's not a temperature anymore, that's an oven setting. And by the end of that summer, 219 confirmed deaths, 40,000 people hospitalized, schools shut, construction sites empty, hospitals running out of bed. But here's the part nobody really talked about. Underneath all of that, there was a bill, an economic bill quietly piling up in factories, in farms, in hospitals, in RBI's calculations. And when you add it up, it's bigger than India's defense budget, bigger than what we can spend on education, bigger than most things in our union budget. Welcome to your own channel Knowledge Feed. Today we are talking about why heat waves are now an economic crisis and why your SIP, your home loan EMI, your subsidy bill are all connected to a thermometer. Let me just hit you with the number first. In 2024 alone, India lost the equivalent of $194 billion. That's around 16 lakh crore rupees in 1 year from heat. 16 lakh crore. Let that sink in. That's more than 2 times our entire defense budget. It's roughly what we spend on education plus healthcare plus subsidies combined. It's almost 5% of our GDP just from one summer. And this isn't some random NGO's estimate. This is from the Lancet Countdown Report, Dasra Insights, McKinsey, and RBI's own research, all triangulating to roughly the same number. The Reserve Bank itself actually warned that up to 4.5% of India's GDP could be at risk this decade, just from the lost labor hours due to heat and humidity. 4.5%. So, no, this isn't a future problem. The bill is already arriving. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but India is hot. India has always been hot. So, what's new? Fair question. But here's what's new. Of the 20 hottest cities in the world right now, 19 are in India. 19. 57% of India's districts are now classified as high or very high heat risk by the Council of Energy, Environment and Water, which means 76% of our population, over a billion people, is exposed to severe heat waves regularly. That's 3 out of every 4 Indians. In 2024, the average Indian experienced 20 heat wave days, and 6.5 of those directly attributable to climate change, not natural variation, climate change. And get this, for every 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature, industrial productivity drops around 2%. Just gone. Workers cannot maintain the same output when it's 48 degrees in a factory with no AC. So we're not just hot. We're hot in a way that's actively shrinking our economy every single summer. So let's break down where the 16 lakh crore actually disappears. Cost number 1, labor. In 2024, India lost 247 billion labor hours to heat exposure. That's roughly 420 hours per person per year. 124% more than what we lost in 1990s. So it's not just bad, it's getting worse. And look, this hits real people. Construction workers in Delhi who can't lift bricks at 47 degrees, farmers in Rajasthan who can't be in the fields after 11 am, auto rickshaw drivers in Hyderabad with no AC, gig workers in Bangalore on bikes, factory workers in Surat without industrial cooling. These are the people powering the Indian economy, and every summer they are physically being forced to work less, deliver less, and earn less. The International Labour Organization actually estimates that by 2030, extreme heat could wipe out the equivalent of 34 million full-time jobs in India alone. That's the population of Canada. That's not unemployment in the normal sense. It's the heat literally erasing labour from the economy. Cost number 2, and this one hits your kitchen, agriculture. In recent years, India has lost between 15 and 25% of wheat yields in heat-affected zones. 2022, we banned wheat exports because the crop got fried. 23, the same story. 2024, even worse. When wheat is in grain filling stage and temperatures spike above 35 degrees, the grains literally don't form properly. They come out smaller, lower nutrition, less weight, and less money for the farmer. But the worst hit isn't wheat. It's the vegetables, the stuff in your fridge. Tomato production in Himachal Pradesh dropped over 10% because of heat and erratic rain. Onion output in Maharashtra crashed nearly 30%. So, what happens? Tomato prices in July 23 shot up 37%. Vegetable inflation hit 42% in October 2024. And small farmers? They don't have cold storage, refrigerated transport, crop insurance. Many of them aren't even recovering their input costs anymore. They borrow, they lose, they migrate. That's the cycle. So when you complain about 100 rupees a kilo for tomato, that's not the sabzi wala being greedy. That's a thermometer doing economic drainage. Now here's the part most people miss, and this is where it gets really clever or scary, depending on your perspective. Heat doesn't just make food expensive, it handcuffs the entire monetary policy of the country. Follow this chain with me. Heat damages vegetables, vegetables prices spike. That pushes up food inflation. Now, food is roughly 45% of India's CPI basket. So, when veggies go up, total inflation goes up. And what does the RBI do when inflation is high? It can't cut interest rates. The Reserve Bank's own research shows the temperature changes alone raise vegetable inflation by 1.3 percent points. Rainfall shocks add another 1 to 2%. So just climate volatility is adding 2.5 percentage points to food inflation every single year. This means your home loan EMI stays high, your car loan stays expensive, businesses can't borrow cheap to expand, the whole economy stays in a slower gear. So basically, a heat wave in Maharashtra in May is silently keeping up your interest rates in the month of October. That's how connected it is. Two more big costs, and these are the ones that show up in government balance sheets. Health. 40,000 plus hospitalizations from heat related illness were seen in 2024. 219 confirmed deaths. The real number is probably much higher. Most heat deaths get coded as cardiac or respiratory on death certificates. Every one of those is a hospital bed. Medical staff, ICU oxygen, government health budget, already stretched thin, getting hit hard every summer. Second is power. When 1.4 billion people switch on ACs and coolers at the same time, the grid screams. The All India Power Engineers Federation literally warned of blackouts in 24. India had to fire up dirty, expensive coal plants, import coal at premium prices, pay power producers more. The subsidy bill explodes then. And the cruel irony, we burn more fossil fuels to cool down, which heats up the planet more, which makes next summer hotter, and that's the loop we're stuck in. Add up the healthcare burden, the power subsidies, the grid investments, lost school days, and you're talking another few lakh crore of hidden costs that don't even show up in the headlines. Okay, so why now? Why is this getting worse every year? Number one reason, climate change. The big one. Global temperatures have risen 1.45 degrees above pre-industrial levels. Doesn't sound like much, but that 1 degree is the difference between a hot summer and a deadly one. The urban heat island effect. Our cities are concrete jungles, concrete, asphalt, glass. They absorb heat all day and release it at night. So while villages cool down after sunset, Delhi and Mumbai don't. Temperatures stay at 35 degrees at midnight. Your body never gets to recover. Number 3, humidity. This one's underrated. Heat plus humidity is way more dangerous than dry heat. The wet bulb temperature, that's the technical term, is rising across India's coast and Indo-Gangetic plains. Above 35 degrees Celsius wet bulb, your body literally cannot cool itself by sweating. You die. And 4, El Nino. This is the cyclic one. Every few years, the Pacific Ocean warms up unusually. And this disrupts the global weather. For India, El Nino years mean weaker monsoons, hotter summers, and dry winters. And here's the timing. NOAA and IMD are both forecasting that El Nino is likely to develop between May and July 2026. 60 to 80% probability, IMD has already projected this year's monsoon at 92% of normal, below normal. So 2026 isn't going to be easier. If anything, it might be one of the toughest on record. But here's the most uncomfortable truth in this whole video. The rupees 16 lakh crore bill isn't paid equally. If you have an AC at home, an office with central cooling, a car with climate control, heat is an inconvenience for you. Annoying, maybe a bigger electricity bill. But the 80% of Indians who don't have those things, for them, heat is existential. These are the people physically absorbing the cost of climate change with their bodies. A study found households in slum areas can be 3 to 4 degrees hotter than by nearby high income neighborhoods. Same city, same day, 3 to 4 degrees of difference. Because there's no insulation, no trees, no airflow, and no AC. So when we talk about 16 lakh crore loss, a huge chunk of that is being absorbed by people who literally cannot afford to absorb anything. That's the part of climate change that doesn't fit into economic models, but it's the part that matters the most. Now a quick global tour. Now a quick now a now a quick global tour. Other countries are figuring this out. Spain legally banned outdoor work during heat peak hours. Now a quick look Now a quick global tour. Other countries are figuring this out. Spain legally banned outdoor work during peak heat hours. Construction sites just stop at noon, done. Singapore has a national cooling cities program, painting roofs with white, building tree corridors, mandatory greenery in new buildings. They've literally engineered the city to be cooler. United States, OSHA, their labor safety body, is rolling out heat protection rules, mandatory watershed breaks for outdoor workers. And India, we're still trying. We have a national cooling action plan. 23 states have heat action plans on paper, cool roof programs in cities like Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Surat, some early warning systems through IMD. That's it. But honestly, it's slow. It's underfunded. And it's not at the scale of the problem. For perspective, the Lancet pointed out that India spent about $58 billion on fossil fuel subsidies in 2022 alone. If even a fraction of that got redirected to cool roofs, urban shades, and worker shelters, the productivity and health gains could be massive and almost immediate. The solutions exist, but the political will to scale them is still catching up. So, quick personal angle before we wrap up. 3 things. 1. Your portfolio. Companies that handle climate badly are going to underperform. Manufacturers without cool facilities, agribusinesses without irrigation backup, real estate developers in heat vulnerable zones. On the flip side, cooling solutions, drip irrigation, climate resilient seeds, renewable energy, those are genuine long-term tailwinds. Worth a look for your SIP themes. Number 2, your career. If you're in an outdoor dependent industry like construction, logistics, agriculture, or gig economy, climate is now a job risk factor. Same way, IT folks had to track AI disruption, anyone working outdoors needs to track heat disruption. 3, your everyday spending. Expect higher food inflation, higher power bills, higher health costs every summer. Build that into your budget. The annual heat bill is now a permanent line item in every Indian household, whether we name it or not. Look, the temperature reading from Churu last May was just a number. Behind that number is 16 lakh crore rupees in lost wages, lost crops, lost lives, lost productivity, and lost opportunity. But here's the thing that should scare you. This is the good version. With El Nino coming, with global warnings continuing, with no major policy shift, 2030 looks worse and 2040 looks much worse. We're at a stage where climate isn't an environmental issue anymore. It's an economic one. It's in every CPI print, every RBI decision, every quarterly result, and every household budget. If this video helped you connect those dots, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment if you think India is doing enough on climate adaptation or we are already too late. I genuinely want to know what you think. I'll see you in the next one. This is Knowledge Feed. Stay cool, stay safe.